it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review. Going to talk about the 2021 horror film, Agnes. I don't want to spoil any movie for anyone, but to talk about this one, I'm going to have to eventually get into spoilers. Because, well, the first half of the movie is exactly what it says it is. The second half is not. But that's a spoiler. So, anyway, I will tell you before I get to the spoilers. I had to look up who Mickey Reese is, the writer-director. Some writer-director in Oklahoma who's done 25 movies in 10 years. Movie only made about $5,000. It opened on 5 screens, but it's got 60-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some reviewers liked it. Some say it's not exactly, it just doesn't all come together. Sean Gunn is in this, of all the people. Most of the people they look familiar, but Molly Quinn, Haley McFarlane, Rachel True, Chris Sullivan, Chris Browning, and Sean Gunn. He's and Sean Gunn. I'm like, wow, Sean Gunn is in this? Really? All right. The reason I even watch this movie is I buy movies from HamiltonBook.com. I do a little research when they get stuff in. They are mostly a clearance house, but they do carry new releases. But they have movies for $2.96, $3.96, $4.96, things like that. Blu-rays, 4Ks. I've gotten 4Ks for under $10 from them. So I've ordered from them. I won the whole Supernatural TV show set, 15 seasons from them. They shipped it all the way to Alaska, free. I'll be a fan for life just for that. But anyway, every once in a while, I get enough things in my wish list to justify an order. They charge a flat rate $4 for any order. So for me, I need to get at least 4 or 5 things in there. So that's only like $1 a piece to get them shipped, right? And you can order as much as you want. They do a lot of books, but they also have movies and, DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks. So anyway, I got enough movies together that I had done research on that they had for under $5 a piece, that enough good reviews that they were worth watching. If nothing more, they'd be fodder for this podcast, including this one. So I picked up 5 movies, 3 on Blu-ray, 2 on 4K for under $30 shipped. That's a great deal when we're paying $37 for a new 4K Steelbook. Thank you, Superman. So anyway, this came in a box of movies, none of which I had seen, but all had decent reviews, and I wanted to give them a shot. So that's why we're talking about Agnes. Rumors of demonic possession at a religious convent prompts a church investigation into strange goings-on. They send a priest and his acolyte to see what's going on. I have watched several movies like this recently. Borderlands, the British film, was a much better version of this kind of story. But they're going for a different thing here. Mickey Reese, the writer-director, is obviously someone... The first thing I notice about the movie is the director knows what he's doing. Like, the first half of the film... incredibly well directed. The way the titles are done, the cuts, the edits, the choices in lighting, the choices in direction. Like, even if like a performance was weak, the direction was strong. While watching this movie, it was like, this is not his first film. And obviously, if he directed 25 movies in 10 years, I can't even imagine. But so he knows the tricks of the trade. And I got what he was going for. I just don't think he pulled it off as well as he could have. Maybe with some more budget or maybe a little better writing in the script. So again, it's about 2 religious types, a priest and about to be a priest, come to visit a convent. They're not used to having men there. And you do see in the beginning of the movie and throughout the first half some supernatural goings on. Cups and stuff lift and fly around. It's not just somebody saying they're possessed. There is actually something going on in this church. But what happens is nothing you expect, and certainly what I didn't expect. And now we can get into some spoilers if you want. Before the spoilers, wait. I thought the movie looked pretty good for a low-budget movie on Blu-ray. The soundtrack was good. There's 0 extras on it. I would have loved some behind-the-scenes interviews, something to give me more context. So getting into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. If you want to watch this movie without them, I would turn away now. So there's a lot of imagery in the first half of the movie when the supernatural thing's going on. The woman is possessed. She says horrible things. She knows things. The crucifix is turned upside down in her room. Nobody ever writes it up. That was kind of there's scenes in this room, and the nuns come in, and the woman is tied down, and behind the nun, the cross is upside down. You wouldn't turn that right side up again? They kind of left it that way. And maybe that was part of the surreal aspect they were trying to make there. So the characters in the film, not all of them are really likable. The head mother of the nunnery is a pretty brutal taskmaster. The priest that they send, because he has experience with exorcisms, he's not exactly following the right path all the time. There's some other things going on in the background with this guy. And the neophyte, the new acolyte, he's pretty green. He's about to take his vows or whatever. So what happens halfway through the movie is they do an exorcism, they exorcise the woman, and then it appears the demon is in one of the other side characters in the movie. And then the movie becomes about that side character leaving the nunnery and going to live the rest of her life. So we leave the whole horror movie creepy setting and we go to nun in a terrible apartment on the other side of town. And she meets Sean Gunn, a comedian, and they have a little relationship. But through these things, we start realizing that maybe she got the possession. When they got it out of the other nun, maybe it's in her. And eventually she does some things that the other nun did. The movie ends kind of anticlimactically with a long conversation about faith. In the end, I had to give it props for it being well directed. Some of the acting is not real good. There's not a whole lot of effects or anything. It's really low budget. And the twist that the second half of the movie is really about loneliness, coming to terms with yourself, coming to terms with your faith. It's just a different kind of thing. So she's partially possessed, like the possession seems to come and go. And she's an ex-nun, and she wrestles with that. The actress, Molly Quinn, who is not the star in the first half of the movie, does a fantastic job of kind of getting that across. And some people she meets in her this post-convent life are not very nice people. But she handles herself pretty well in all of that. And she tries to have a relationship with this comedian, but then the thing comes out. If there had been, if we had flipped back to like a horror movie towards the end, when we knew that at the end we know she's kind of possessed, and it got a little more horrible with what happens there at the end, I think maybe that would have had more impact. But it just kind of, we figure out that she is, but she's not so possessed that she can't have a conversation with a priest at the end of the film. So anyway, it's a very strange film. If you can catch it for free on a streaming service, it might hold your attention. Like I said, there's some stuff in the first half. Some of the acting is in and out. All in all, I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad I'm doing a podcast on it. Would I rewatch it? Maybe to get more out of it, because like I said, there's no extras on it. There's no commentary. There's no behind the scenes, no nothing. And you really don't find a whole lot when you look it up online either. It was a low budget film. It was released by Magnet Releasing, which releases a lot of foreign films from around the world, some low budget, some not. But it was released by a pretty sizable company. So anyway, you might dig Agnes. It came out in 2021. Yeah. Even on the Wikipedia entry, I'm looking at it right now, the 2021 horror film, directed by, horror drama it says, directed by Mickey Reese and starring Haley McFarlane. Haley McFarlane plays Agnes, and she is the one who's possessed at the beginning of the movie, but she is not the star of the film. And that's the plot twist. And I'm sorry I gave it away, but you might dig it if you're into this kind of thing. If you want a more psychological take on the subject matter, it doesn't all come together. Maybe because he directed 25 movies in 10 years. Maybe if you'd spent a little time on one or two of these. But anyway, it was worth a watch once. Add it to your collection. Probably not. If it had a lot of extras that explained everything, maybe. But at this point, it was worth what I paid for it to talk to you about it and watch it. I paid less than I pay for, like, going to the theater. So there you go. Agnes from 2021 gets a marginal pass from me. Scott, ROCKFILE, more podcasts on the way. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And have a fantastic day.